what it's like reading during depression versus mania. Is that how I worded it? What's the order that I wrote it in? Mania versus depression. Ooh, boys. Let's go. Let's fucking go, bro. Okay, I kind of talked about this in my four bipolar readers video, which I think is pretty good. You should probably watch that if you haven't yet. I think that reading is essential to mental health, especially for people who have bipolar disorder at the very least. I understand bipolar readers more than I understand any other group of readers because I think that we can fully participate in the books that we read. We can completely blah. What can we do? Ah, yes, we completely emotionally experience all the books that we read because I think that we have a rich and complex and dynamic understanding of the entirety of the emotional spectrum, every single colorful facet of the emotional spectrum of the human condition. We understand every part of it because we've been to both poles there and back again, baby. Always in search of that elusive, secretive, hard to spot center. We're trying to maintain a healthy balance between the poles. But point is, we understand the entirety, the totality of human emotion better than anybody else. If you disagree, this video is not for you. That's great. Go away. Go away. I'm talking to the bipolar baddies in the booktubes. And I keep holding up this book because it's the most like emotionally devastating book I've ever read. It's beautiful. It's my favorite classic book of all time. Bipolar Baddies. Go read this book and report back to me. Report back, and we can have like a group hug or something. Some group struggle session. This is one of the best books ever. But it also just is a great what the fuck am I saying, bro? I've been having trouble. A little foggy of the mind lately. Kind of changed my medication a little bit, and I'm still kind of getting used to it. But The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, I think, is one of literature's best emotional expressions. Right? I think it's beautiful. And in my four bipolar readers video, I discussed it slightly how important it is, I think, for bipolar readers to. Am I going to edit that out? I don't fucking know if I am. We'll see. But it's really important for bipolar readers to be critically self aware and track their reading habits. Because for me, when I start to slip into mania, the first thing to go are those habits, are the commitments that I've made, are are those things that provide structure to my day. Sleep goes, right? Employment gets threatened. I can't tell you how many jobs that I've just quit on a whim or got fired from because mania just suddenly poked its ugly head in, and I got slightly delusional and decided that I was destined to, I don't know, be. It's embarrassing. It doesn't fucking matter. But but like employment is a commitment that often goes. Relationships, same as employment, also threatened. I can't tell you how many girlfriends that I've fumbled because, well, that's a larger discussion. I think that that romance to me can be so exhilarating that it often sends me at least into hypomania, and then I kind of just sabotage things. Is what it feels like I do. Uh, Romance can send me into mania, but I mean, if you're going into mania, you get like hypersexual, and you're not yourself anymore. You can literally experience psychosis. I have a few times, and your relationships are gone. Family ties, friendships, your connection to your community, all of those things can be forfeited during a severe manic episode. And my first lines of defense against mania, like apart from professionals, apart from psychiatrists, therapists, those kinds of people who I see once a week or once every 2 weeks who should be monitoring me themselves. You have to monitor yourself as well. Some self accountability and responsibility here. Uh, my first line of defense is my reading habit. Right, I read 50 pages a day, no matter what. And when that starts to go away, I start to understand that we're going to have to hunker down, weather some sort of storm. I need to go talk to my psychiatrist pretty quickly because sleep normally follows that. And then insomnia starts screaming in my fucking ear. So reading while manic, well, here's the thing. A, which is the the most likely thing that'll happen if you're reading while manic and you really care about reading when you're stable is you just don't fucking read anymore because your brain has deluded you into thinking that something else requires your complete attention. That sometimes you're just like hella hedonistic or something, and you're super extravagant in self-destructive ways. Or maybe I'm just talking hyper personally about this once more. But either way, you're not reading. You're not reading. Or if you are reading, like if you're hypomanic, you can still maybe get a few pages down, but you're not remembering them, or you're jumping from book to fucking book super quick, super fast. Thirdly, reading while manic. Well, you should really watch your online credit cards because you're also going to be buying books like you just won the lottery. If you haven't noticed, I think that Mania is a lot more dangerous to me. It threatens a lot more of my life than depressive episodes do. Mania, like when I'm full blown manic, I don't know what to do because when I'm full blown manic, I don't believe anybody about anything. And nothing that seems to be meaningful to me when I'm stable is meaningful to me when I'm manic. So reading while manic to me is almost an impossibility. But that's also how I know that I'm approaching mania. So I think that reading is integral, at least to my bipolar makeup, because when I read less, I know that I'm slipping more. Now, reading while depressed, reading while you're in a depressive episode, in my 4 bipolar readers video, I suggested audiobooks are great. You want to bed rot a little bit? Play some audiobooks. Audiobooks I don't normally like, but when I'm in a depressive episode, yeah. And you can't even bring yourself to look at the page. You have no energy to look at the page. And, just like when you're manic, you think that reading is pointless, but for different reasons altogether, you can still play that audiobook and you can still follow along and pay attention to it. One of the things I would like to say is if you're in a depressive episode, maybe reading The Heart is a Lonely Hunter or Sylvia Plath isn't your best option. You might actually want to switch what book you're reading. Maybe nostalgia would be helpful if you're in a depressive episode. And there's actually wonderful, like fully dramatized audiobooks of Harry Potter, I think. I haven't listened to them, but I think they're there. You need to change your reading diet. Also, like that's a thing, like your reading diet can absolutely impact your mental health. Like if you're only reading like the uber serious sad boy or sad girl authors, guess what? You're going to be a sad boy or a sad girl eventually, ultimately, or those writers suck at what they do. Like you need to have like a greater, a broad reading diet. I read a lot of fantasy, but there's a lot of different kind of colorful subgenres within fantasy. I love grim dark, but I need to introduce some like high fantasy every once in a while. Reading R. Scott Baker is super fun, but you need some Robin Hobb to kind of fucking add some positivity, add some glow and some warmth to your reading diet. Like if you're spinning out into a depressive episode or in a manic episode, and I look at your recently read shelf and it's like Bret Easton Ellis's entire fucking catalog plus like Kafka and Dostoevsky, I'm gonna be like, well, like God, yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. So it doesn't matter if you're reading manic or if you're reading while you're depressed, you need to be conscious of the fact that we don't get to decide or determine how much or how little art affects us. It just affects us. We're at the mercy of the art sometimes, especially if you have bipolar disorder. Like I said, I think we're really not really sensitive, but we we have an overwhelming amount of significant personal history with some significantly brutal human emotions, and I think that we can I think that we can feel those things very easily. So like just be careful about what books you're reading. Reading depressive, reading manic. What we want to be doing is reading stable. Stable reading is beautiful. Stable reading will always be the best. But even if you're manic, even if you're depressed, there are still ways that you can read. Like I said at the beginning, depressive episodes are easier for me to manage, right? Because they're more predictable. My mania is entirely unpredictable, chaotic, and nihilistic. But depressive, I know what to do there. You might be totally different, and feel free to share your personal experiences in the comments. Depressive, I like to go for an audiobook. I can still continue my reading journey. And if I'm reading something that's like super heavy, super dark, super confrontational, I tend to like to switch it up to something more familiar, possibly a reread over an audiobook, right? If we're doing mania, then I like we're in security lockdown mode, really. If I sense that I'm going manic, and an early indicator of me going manic is dropping my commitments, which would be first and foremost reading less and less and less, then yeah, we're in security fucking lockdown. We're at uh, you know, we're at terror threat levels here. And I would go pretty immediately to my psychiatrist, to my therapist. And if things get like terribly uh, if things get out of control, then they're already out of control, and then the mental hospital is where I'll end up most likely. But like reading when I'm manic isn't necessarily a possibility. I've never really done it before because I don't I am too busy fucking I'm too busy just running face first into every dangerous, shadowy alleyway. I'm too busy just running face first into every fucking wall that I see to read a book. So reading while manic, that's when reading is maybe more important than at any other time because I stop doing it. And when I stop doing it, that's when you have to worry. And that's when you kind of reach out to professionals, reach out to a support system, a family, friends, if you have them, if you have a support system. I know that a lot of us don't. Um, I don't necessarily have one myself, so I kind of commiserate with that. But like you do everything that you can. You do everything that you can to combat what's coming. But either way, like I said, stable reading. Stable reading is the goal. That's the dream. And ultimately, reading helps maintain stability for me in my life, in my bipolar experience. Reading helps keep me stable. Mental health is extremely important. Bipolar readers, not only can we learn so much about life itself and passions and philosophy and psychology through the books we read and the actual process of reading them and experiencing them, but reading itself can provide significant emotional markers within us that we can measure, right, to truly keep our mental health balanced, keep our emotions in check. Reading is so fundamental to my mental health, to my mental well-being, that it's kind of extraordinary. And I think that if you make it central to your mental health, you won't be disappointed. And if it already is central to your mental health, then it's wonderful to meet you. It's so great. But I've been Zach, Soulcatcher Simp. Bye for now.